some might argue that I swallowed my anger and let it slowly burn me alive. My esophagus, mainly, seemed to get hit with a nightly dose of reflux. But I'd never allowed my anger or frustrations to erupt, especially on these impressionable young people. I dealt with it all like I normally do. Steady as she goes. Plus, there was no way I was going to let this play's dramas overtake my joy in what was finally happening that night. My long-postponed date with Liam. His place. No problem, he'd said when I told him that I was going to be late. He just wanted to see me. My day had started at 4:30 a.m. at the bakery helping out my sister Jess, who had to prepare a massive catering order for a conference, so by now I was running on pure adrenaline. I had miles to go, but with Liam's gorgeously hunky arms to fall into later. My students would be absolutely shocked at the plans their Miss Meriden had for him when she got there. And then, hopefully in the warm afterglow of two bodies colliding with pure lust, I wanted to have the talk with him about being exclusive. But back to Macbeth. I had to let poor introverted Colin know that this was his chance at fame. The understudy steals the show. The lad blanched at the news, as though he'd been dipped in milk. Colin, you must get into costume now, I ordered, as he seemed to have turned to stone. And somebody needs to run lines with him. Amelia? I waved the young woman over. Tall with frizzy red hair and glasses, Amelia was my student assistant director. She was unquestionably responsible, a stickler for getting things right, but right now was going back for another slice of the oily pizza that had finally arrived. Would you please help Colin with his lines? Cast, Colin is our new Macbeth. A few muffled groans arose. Colin's slice of pizza was wilting greasily down his hand. His knees trembled, and his teeth were possibly chattering as he overheard our trio of witches take bets on how many times he'd forget his lines. Colin, lad, you're going to do great. Believe in yourself. You've seen Oliver rehearse endlessly. It should be imprinted in your mind. He started shaking his head like a dog who's just come out of the rain. No, Miss Meriden, laying his small adolescent hand on mine, clutching at my fingers. My mind's drawing a complete blank, like there's nothing left in there. I can barely remember my own name. Colin looked wildly across the stage, perhaps wondering if he could beam up his lines on a screen somewhere. I tried to look as convincing as possible. You will remember them. You just need to take a deep breath and not panic. I looked around. Where was that girl? She was just here. Amelia, we need you tout de suite. She walked back over, a slice of pizza tucked in a napkin, waving her script and sighing. The plight of the competent who must come to the aid of the incompetent. Come on, Colin. She looked me in the eyes to convey her conviction. We've got this, miss. Which number one, Rebecca, was the winner of the bet? Colin made it to scene 3, which was the first scene he was on stage, before he started calling for lines. Eventually, I sent Amelia out there with a script and signaled the tech crew to dim the lights and asked that she whisper so that she would not be too obvious, as if anyone could not notice a tall redhead with frizzy hair, not dressed in costume, with a script in hand on stage. But Macbeth just couldn't be discreet, and the sight of the words on the page seemed to be a lighthouse that he was drawn to rather than the kickstart he needed to remember his lines. The cast who knew their lines tried their best to guide Colin, nudging the dialogue out of him, leaving gaps and vigorous nods to cue him in. When he finally started to remember his lines, he raised a fist in the air as though it was a stage direction. We got through the rest of the abridged play. When Colin joined the cast for a final bow to good-natured shouts of "Bravo!" from the audience and claps on the back from his castmates, I knew tomorrow night's show was going to be a winner. It fully appeared as if he'd caught the acting bug, grasping the hands of the two kids on either side of him up high, and then giving an expert flourish with his final bow as he pointed to me, his director, to come on stage for my turn. Thus was the power of inhabiting a play by William Shakespeare. After the performance, if I were doing anything besides seeing Liam, whom the mere thought of set my internal furnace on fire, I might have worried about falling asleep on the drive. The literal high drama of the last few